When we first conceived Monster Walk, the core design problem we were trying to solve is this idea of how do we make steps, like real world steps that you're taking, feel like playing a game, like not like a chore. It doesn't feel tacked on. It doesn't feel like it's a fitness app and a game, two different things, but truly like a game that you play by being healthier in real life. The biggest technical challenge of making this real-time steps, like live data, feel like really seamless and integrated into the game experience with like all these different platform constraints, like background delivery, and battery life. For us, like it had to be the step tracking in real time piece and how to make that not feel too punishing or too rewarding to players in a way that actually kept them accountable to their fitness. Because we've used Unity, it really helped to make it easy to connect to both like the Android and iOS native plugins. And we're dealing with like Android Health Connect, Google Fit, like Garmin, like all these sources of data coming into our game, and we have to consolidate all of that and tell the player how many steps we think they've taken between the last time they came into the game and when they opened it next. Luckily, Unity does provide us an ability to tap into native APIs. So like we even created our own step counter at some point because we couldn't assume they had Health Connect. We couldn't assume they had Google Fit. Maybe they had nothing, and we created this native plugin that attached to Unity, all worked seamlessly, and it would count steps in the background even if the app was closed. So we had to build almost like a 3-layer solution within our Unity project to support that, and at the same time not take up too much battery life or like be constantly in the background so players would just want to uninstall. And same thing as well when it came to balancing all of the data we were getting, because Apple, you have Apple Health, you have native foregrounded steps, like when the app is open and the phone is shaking, maybe the player is taking a step, but also Apple Health is also tracking a step at the same time. So like how do you consolidate like the redundant data? How do you make it not feel too rewarding, not too punishing? Finding that sweet spot, like being able to meet the player where they're at, like in terms of what device model they had, and making that feel magical, like that was the hardest technical challenge. Since Monster Walk is a game that effectively ran in the background like all day, we had to design these systems that would advance gameplay without overheating the phone. Obviously different, even between iOS and Android, the background behavior is super different. So we had to be extra cautious when it came to saving player state. And essentially, like because we're doing so much background processing of steps, health data, we had to give the players the illusion that like while they're away, their monsters were still walking with them, even if the app was closed. So I'd say a lot of it is like a design framing. And then I'd also say like we are pretty careful about like shutting down processes, like making sure background threads are not running, and so that the player doesn't actually see the app open and it's draining battery. So we tap into a lot of like the Unity hooks for like OnApplicationFocus, OnApplicationPause, and just like use those moments to quickly save state. And then every time they come back, we like check our last save, resume, and check their step counts. And we say, hey, you've just effectively walked this much with your little monster friend, like welcome back.